Hello friends, I made this for. Welcome back and or thank you for being here. Thank you for clicking on this video. I am Lauren. I am a astrology fan, artist, tarot girly, all of that shit. Hi. Yeah, if astrology isn't real, explain the last few weeks, right? And what's happening right now. Explain it. You believe in it, that's why you're here. So this weekend, yes, Shiva, I hear you. That's my cat. I have a cat. I'm a cat lady. Yep. This weekend we have the full moon in Capricorn. Of course, if you've never been here before, hi, hello. I like to talk about astrology through the tarot. It's kind of been a while since I've done a deep dive through that because I've kind of already, I feel like I've done almost every sign and like major lunation. Of course, there are many lunations throughout a season, but like the main ones being either the dark and the new moon or the new moon and the full moon, blah, blah, blah. If you want me to talk about those archetypes more, feel free to drop a comment. And if even one person says, I will make a video going over the archetypes within the tarot, right? So to kind of give you a just preface for that, Capricorn, the goat, is the devil in the tarot. Hold your horses, I know. Cancer in the tarot, being the crab, is the chariot. So those are the kind of like archetypes we can hone in on and observe when we're talking about these, about this lunation and general. I will say before I do this reading, because that's why you're here, a reading, pull out those cards from your own deck and sit with them to kind of like maybe visualize the energy that we're quickly gearing up towards. So I am not a fortune teller. I think most people who have been here before know that. I believe that these are archetypes and energies that can be revealing to who we are and what we do and maybe give some context in the world, but it is not, in my mind, in my practice, not to be used as a way of like, skirt the system, you know? It is about how to use the energies as tools of reflection. So take some deep breaths, babes. It's really like a fucking whirlwind, and it's going to be that way up until November 5th, which will be the end of America's Pluto return, which is, I don't know, kind of crazy, right? Astrology is not real. Why is it so real? Astrology is not real. Why won't Elon give out his birth time? Or Jeff Bezos? It's because they know we would know too much. So yeah, let's just go over a few quick things about this moon to kind of address how I'm going to pull. So I'm going to ask questions related to this full moon, and I'll pull some cards to it. Now, thinking about what are appropriate questions for this moon, one thing to think about is what are the alchemic energies of this sign. So Capricorn is earth. The counterpart to that is water, that is Cancer. So we have a very interesting time of like watering one's own garden, right? When we think about full moons, it is always things being illuminated. It is the height of the lunation. It is the fullest of the lunar cycle. So we are seeing things through the dark. And specifically, Capricorn asks us, I believe, to really think about the structures and how those are either helpful or hurtful. As Cancer is kind of like cleaning house. Kind of like going, how do I make my nest better? How do I make this shell work for me? Or maybe it's not working for me. How do I allow my emotional energy to inform. There's always this talk of feminine energy, but really it's the nurturer. It's just anyone can nurture, right? If you've been here for a while, you know I want to kind of lessen our gendering, because these archetypes are not necessarily about that, right? We're missing out on the forest for the trees. So this is general for all of us. This is not for anyone in particular, but if you're here, maybe it will resonate. Let's pull a card for understanding the structures right now. What's a card that really represents the structures that need changing right now? Card that represents the structures that need changing right now. Five of Pentacles. What this represents to me, and of course we all have our interpretations. How I read this card might be different than how you read this card for you and your situation. So take what you want, leave the rest. This is a card that represents a lot of give and take. It is about being able to be the one giving and receiving. To be the nurturer, to be the provider, or the person who is caring, or to be the person who is receiving, right? Five of Pentacles is about getting out of the cold and into help. It is about asking and learning how to ask. Like, as we give and receive, we might sometimes really feel that we are out in the lurch. We are in the dust. We are out and about. But the invitation is there, and the invitation is also very real. We might be feeling discarded. We might be feeling on the outskirts of society and like no one understands what we're going through or what we're doing. That is a feeling that we need to get comfortable with collectively. Get comfortable with that feeling of shifting your modes. You gotta shift how you do things. There's only one way, and that's through. But through is not always forceful. Sometimes it's really just a matter of holding yourself accountable and noticing your patterns. So if we're talking about, this is the card that represents the structures that we're going to be looking at. It's the structures that we maybe don't allow ourselves to be in, or think we are not good enough for, or we think we're too proud to take on certain roles, or we are not enough to take on certain roles. There's just a lot of, especially in this card and its interpretation, there's a lot of pain, but there's a lot of nurturance. There's a lot of sadness, but there's also the warmth, right? That's the give and take. Let's pull another card for how do we embrace this discomfort? Because it's getting weird out here. How do we embrace that discomfort better? How do we embrace discomfort? I love this card, actually. Three of Swords. It's a mental game. It's a mental game of acknowledging what's actually stopping you from entering into spaces or receiving help or asking for help or giving help. There is so much in this card. That is why a lot of people are always like, it's the worst card to get. It's the breakup card. It's really not. It's about how our baggage affects our cognitive choices and how we move throughout the world. And so because it is a swords card and it is, so this being Earth, it's the physicality of the world we're moving through. This is of the mind. So how the mind affects our way of moving through the world, that really needs to be assessed. It needs to be assessed. And I think that makes sense considering how much doom and gloom there is right now. There's a lot. And I'm not here to say it's not warranted. It's just at what point does this no longer serve us, right? Like that's the question with this card, is how do we move through the world in a way that's actually not like the hurt that we've experienced. And let's think about like back to 2008, since we're kind of also talking about the cycle and eventual shift of Pluto from Capricorn to Aquarius. That's a long time, right? What's happened in that time? I feel like Pearl. Like it's so much shit. It's so much heavy shit that's happened. But that's like our collective karma, right? Is how Pluto has been moving, because it has changed in that time. So much has changed, right? So we've seen a big, like, lots of different, like, movement throughout time here. One thing that I think we can also acknowledge here is with these cards, they're all invitations, right? So to acknowledge where we are in the physical world as it relates to our mental world and how we have changed and transformed, the Capricorn movement of Pluto, the moon in Capricorn, these two things are kind of meeting up for a very potent sit-down conversation. Perhaps a breakup. Just kidding. It's gonna be very hot and heavy. But one thing that I'm seeing here is the mind is a gateway. The mind is a powerful tool that is just like any other part of our body, that if we are feeling disconnected with how to really use this energy, it's time to reassess and sit with and do the things that you need to do to help with your mind. Whether that's therapy, whether that's more like walks outside, more working out, more just reading books, getting off your phone. What are the things that help break old cycles and chains of the mind? That's like a big one that's coming up here. I'm going to pull one more card, and I'm going to just keep this as, what is our medicine card for this full moon in Capricorn? Stop it! She's pulling out my carpet. What is our medicine card for this full moon in Capricorn? Two of Wands. Begin to imagine. We are on the precipice of Leo season, and that's a big shift, right? From water to fire. So what we can kind of see in all of this is the shift that might be real, the medicine that we might be really needing right now is dreaming our creative liberation, dreaming of our creative next steps, and when we're talking twos, we are talking twos. Um, we're talking about the very budding stages. We're talking about if the aces are the gift or the seed that God, Spirit, the universe is planting and handing to us, the twos are the baby steps or the germination under the earth of that seed, or maybe even a barely movement yet. Because here's the thing with this two specifically, we see not just one person, there's actually two people in this interpretation because we see this hand. In the classic Smith-Waite, we actually don't see anyone else, and we don't even see a face because they're looking out to the ocean. They are presumably observing and thinking about what is the next move. Where do they go? This crystal ball still there. They are perceiving, receiving, and coming up with a plan. No matter what the political landscape, no matter what the social, financial, like whatever is going on, Leo is coming as a reminder of that creative magic that we have, but also every sign is creative. Every sign has that creative magic. So no matter what sign you're in, no matter where this moon is falling, it is time to get creative. It is time to acknowledge where the give and take is. Maybe you don't deserve to suffer. Maybe you can reach out and help others and get yourself out of your feelings of destitution, right? And it's not like a pray it away, babes, or just manifest. No. It's about really acknowledging those old wounds, patterns, decades, lifetimes, hours, whatever has caused pain and might be breaking up your ability to integrate and move forward without the wounds becoming a hindrance. That's just what I'm saying. And part of that is dreaming. Dreaming with others, though. Dreaming in community. Dreaming as a way to open up the next chapter of the world we live in. Because listen, November is going to be the end of the Pluto return. I'm sure there's going to be tons of other shit. But stuff is going to change, as it should. We can't stay here. We can't stay here. And we don't, because these are just archetypes that we're constantly moving through. So these scary looking cards, they are just spaces through which, they're rooms or hallways through which we move through. They are not the destination. They are, and no card is. There's always change. But if we stop dreaming and imagining a different world, we are literally unable to create it. This is the first step. So the medicine card around all of this shit, the very real things that are being brought to light, the very real wounds, our struggles that we've experienced, it is imperative to not give up your ability to dream and envision a world that functions differently. And that is hard. And it's hard to do that because we are, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, babes. We are on the precipice of like a really crazy time. We are in crazy times. The precipice is that we're in it, you know, and that's okay. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to acknowledge that there's a lot more under the surface that's causing us to either repeat patterns or find ourselves in places that we feel stuck in. It's okay. It's okay to feel those things. It doesn't feel good. It still sucks. Like, that's the truth of it all. Sometimes shit just sucks. And that is kind of like a moment of levity, of going, yeah, Sometimes shit is just sucky. It's just fucked. But that doesn't mean you give it all up or submit to this is how it will always be. All things change. The wheel of fortune, the hand of God is spinning, right? Keep that on my arm to remember it, because Lord knows I'll fucking forget. Anyway, I hope this was a supportive reading. All of this to say, there is a desire for shift. There is discomfort that is very real. There are spaces that we want to shift and change. We want to be comforted. We want to comfort others. We might not feel that we are ready for any of it. Engage with the brain. Engage with why you might be thinking that way. What patterns no longer support you, right? And let this be the medicine, a reminder that your heart, your soul, that your visioning, your ability to envision a different future is the first tool that people in power want you to lose. They want you to not be creative in that way. Because if you can envision a different world, you might ask for it. You might want it. You might go for it. And for some people, that's going to be scary. And I'm not even just talking about people in power. I'm talking about the friends, family, and coworkers that you know. That can be very scary to witness someone doing. But that doesn't mean it's not fucking valid and fucking necessary, especially in these weird fucking times. Please take your time. Anyway, I keep yawning, but I'm drinking iced coffee, so I don't know why. Anyway, I hope this was supportive for you. Linktree in the show notes, down below, whatever. And feel free to leave a comment if you want me to talk about the archetypes around this full moon. And until next time, bye-bye.